Because again, money is it. Yes, I got that. But like I said, I mentioned before we started this show, a saying that I love: if you can't teach somebody how to fish, you can start. Right? I have personal experiences of individuals that I did business for a living and I was managing. And I told them, hey, listen, this person is going to offer you X amount of money. If you take it, the deal is off. However, if you don't take it, we can make triple the amount of money that they're offering at the time. So if you get to the meeting, the person offering them that money, they took it. And I couldn't necessarily be mad because they were facing addiction, they were hungry, they were starving. So how do we get these kids to push off from the immediate gratification of let me go shoot people, let me go talk about gangster stuff, let me talk about drugs? Like, how do we get them from that immediate, dopamine to say, hey, but if you step back a little bit more, this is all the wealth that's there for you.
Like how Puffy said to Biggie, don't go down there and sell drugs, that's short money. Right? He referred, I remember when I saw him do an interview talking about trying to stop Biggie from going to selling drugs. He was like, Big, don't go down there, that's short. He called it short money. I never forget when he said that. When I sell this to parents buy this for their children, we don't mention engineering or any of that. Right? We lead with money machine. That's what's going to get them. What's in it for me? Money machine. And something else I want to say. The entire world economy, all of this money is built on the technology that quote-unquote nerds have created, right? Everything.
Let's just call them smart individuals.
Smart people.
Since
you brought that up, I don't like that word. Now that you said that, I don't like that word either. But I say that so that people can understand that I know what you're thinking. You think that the N-word, no, I said the N-word up here, right? Mm-hmm. We think that word means, meanwhile, the quote-unquote nerds that we were talking about, they're running the country right now. Donald Trump has an army of people that have created these disruptors that boss him around, that make the most money of anyone else on earth. The rappers may make a few $100 million and they put their money together, they make $1 billion. These people make hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. The guy who invented Amazon, he's $100 billion man. That's more money than a country. There's another word for it, creative destruction. So if we can just get our kids to understand that the people that make the most, if you really want money, which you say you're really about the bag, right? The people who got the biggest bag are these people that create these disruptors are in every industry, whether it's music or technology or real estate. Every industry in the next 10 years is going to be eaten by some disruptor that you could make.
See, you already learned. Yeah, you just told me already. So the biggest way to combat it is to be smart.
Yeah, the smart guy wins all the time.
To be smart. Yeah.
The smart people win all the time. The people with the loud people. You know what I noticed about, like, quote unquote ghetto behavior? Ghetto behavior is always fun. People that are behaving ghetto, they're always smiling, they're loud, they're popular, right? Ghetto behavior and ignorance is seductive, it's fun, it's sexy, it's, right? Being smart, you don't get that gratification instantly, right? Girls, I remember when I was young, girls would be like, they tell you stupid, and I'd be like, oh, you think I'm stupid? You like me because of that? Okay, I'm gonna act more stupidly, right? I didn't know. It wasn't until I got to college that the girls were like, no, Bintel, you're not smart. I was like, oh, this is not good. So my belief is that once you tell kids, these people make the most money, the rappers and athletes are lying to you. These people are the ones they look up to. All of this talk about being a billionaire and a CEO, it's because they want to be like these smart people that are quote unquote NERDS, right? Once they find that out and they realize that they are better at coming up with new ideas than anybody else on earth, why would they not? Why would you choose to go be a drug? Do you know any rappers or drug dealers that are alive right now?
So, ignorance is bliss, and I've been telling this to people for eons. I can only name 3 successful former drug dealers that are known to be drug dealers that were successful in not being killed or being in jail. However, there's still people to this day, hundreds of thousands of guys, probably millions of guys, who still sell drugs. I don't know any successful gang member. I don't know any gang member who has made it to be mayor, governor, or school, any of that. However, every single year, there are hundreds, if not millions, of people that are being recruited. So I definitely agree with you with education. I definitely know your book has a ton of points. I just feel like we have to do a little bit more to convince them outside of money. We have to make it cool. We have to make it. I was speaking to one of my friends not too long ago, and I was talking about all the designers that are on Fifth Avenue. And most of my friends grew up in the tough parts of the city, whether it be Harlem, Queens, whatever. And most of us didn't even know how to pronounce the stuff that we were buying on Fifth Avenue. And we got it, like you said, from an artist or from an entertainer or somebody else who mentioned it or we saw it on, right? And we did our due diligence to make it work. And even to the point where I remember stuff was uncool, right? I remember when Kanye West was wearing pink and book bags. And people were calling him all kind of names and this is whack, but it became cool. Everybody became cool. How can we make this become cool? Again, I got the information. Once we get the information, because it's the same thing with me. Once I feel like I was enlightened at a later age of life. Once I was getting certain books to read, certain autobiographies, certain information, it changed my perspective on a lot of things. But I was ignorant to it. Like, similar to what you said. Like I was more about the flash, all about the ignorant stuff. I'm going to the gym to work out, so I can get that. It's not to be healthy, just to intimidate people. I'm going to the club, spending thousands of dollars for no reason. I don't even drink alcohol. I was literally buying bottles. I'm drinking alcohol to impress other people.
You know what, man?
What's up?
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Before I forget, have you ever heard the phrase, educate a woman, you educate a race? If we can get the girls in our community to put pressure on the boys to make disruptors for them, to take care of them, or else the girls won't date them, it's over.
And again, I don't disagree with any thing. I'm trying to come up with a solution. How do we actually do that? How do we
got to get to the females.
Okay, so how do we get to the females? And again, I'm just going back and forth with you. How we get to the females? When
I think
last week, and last week, I had a discussion. We talked about the state of marriage, the state of dating, and today's right. There are not too many people that I think are worthy of marriage, at least in the Western culture. Right? So if I won't even spend my life with you. How am I even going to teach you how to make a disruptive community, how to make or be a disruptive in yourself?
I think right now, if you look all over the internet, black women are really upset with black men because they feel like we're not taking care of them the way white men are taking care of white men.
That's impossible. It's impossible. We can debate it. It's impossible.
All right, based on where we're coming from and racism in America, yes, right. But that's what they're upset about, right? And black women are saying black women are more likely than anybody else to start their own business, right? That's a fact. It's from what I hear. I don't know. I didn't debunk it myself, but this is allegedly a fact. Out of any other demographic, if black women find out about this and say, he can really teach my child and me to make a disruptor in any industry with 3 little letters, I can turn you into an engineering disruptor in 1 book. And they start attacking this.
Right.
And they start ridiculing, I don't want to use the word ridiculing, but pressuring black men to get with the disruption program. Black men will do anything black women say for their affections. That's my theory. The key is I've heard this before, you educate a woman, you educate a race. So whenever I'm in the community and I walk up to a black woman, or black men, but it's primarily black women with their children, and I say, ma'am, this is what, and I tell them what's in the book, they look at their children and say, do you want to read this book? And the children say, give me 2 of them books, right? If we can get to black women, because black women, first of all, the white women out in Long Island, where I grew up, North Shore, Long Island, if they found out about this, they would skin the superintendents in their neighborhoods to put this in their school because they enjoy the perks of their husbands' successful entrepreneurial lives. They want that to continue.
I agree. So I will say this. There are, in that discussion, again, we don't have enough time to go into it. But there are a ton of things that create obstacles that make it very, very difficult. Again, I do agree with you with the women that we teach our women, we teach the kids. However, I do think we definitely need to have the men in the household. Just the other day, I was reading a report. Once you have a felony, there are 44,000 rules or regulations that involve disruptive recourses. So basically,
it's really called disruptive?
yes. So basically means that you can't get a job. So it's 44,000 things that, like, so if you have a felony in certain HOAs, if you can't go into no HOAs throughout the United States of America, you can't get certain jobs, you can't do certain things. Right? So when they talk about the women, our black sisters, creating houses, being the bosses and making money, it's because a lot of times it's a situation that forces not to. Like, a lot of us are forced into entrepreneurship. Like, that's become the cool term in the last 10 to 15 years. But before, you just had to. It was you had to learn to fix a tire, you had to learn to fix a carburetor, you had to learn how to do something because you was not getting a job. It had no. I don't care if you went to school. I'm a college graduate. I could not get a job. My first job, my first 2 years of working, I was a temp. Like that. And I'm a graduate, and from a prestigious school at that point on top of that. So I think it's a little harder than just us stepping up,
No,
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you said that. I'm not saying you said that. I'm just saying that's the narrative out there. When you say, when our sisters say, that we're not protecting them and we're not there for them, or they want the treatment that our counterparts got. There's a lot of things that they're not necessarily aware of, or not seeing.
I don't like that.
Create obstacles and making it happen.
I don't like whenever you hear black women talk about that, I lash out at them. Right? First of all, we went and sold drugs to buy you hair weaves and expensive pocketbooks. Right? My ex-wife used to ridicule me that I was a regular guy because she made a career out of dating drug dealers before she dated me. So I was running around with the shame that I'm not a drug dealer. That's what pushed me to this extreme. So I when black women say that, I say, well, he's in jail because he's trying to make money to give you hair weaves and all and pay for your, So I get very irate with that conversation. But if you want him to get the bag, sweetie, right? If that's what you're requiring of him, then push him in this direction. Because in my corporate career, every time I closed a deal that was $20 million or a large deal where I was going to go and buy a Maserati or a big car and I was going to finally be that guy, fired me, took my deal and gave it to somebody that did not look like me. This happened 15 times. Montefiore High, I can go into that. That's a conversation with my therapist. So we have to do this. If black women want black men to not go to jail, be there, and have enough money to give them the life that they, as black queens, deserve, buy your boyfriend and your husband and your kids this book. Push them in this direction.
Nice. So, for my audience, where can they get the book?
Listen. So, you can buy it on Amazon, which is a disruptor in itself, but please don't buy it on Amazon because Amazon has my book and they've been selling it and they're not paying me, right? So another reason, and that's not why you shouldn't buy it from Amazon. If you buy it from me, you get a book with the raised lettering, the nice linen paper. On my website, success, the number 4, mula.com. You can listen to some of the audio chapters. You can see me teaching in the class. We've been doing this for 16 years now. So successformula.com. My number is there. You can send me an email. You can text me. And what I'd like to do is for, like, what if people say, hey, I'm not really a big reader. Well, we have an audio book and an ebook, because when I was in college, my professors would say, hey, Bintel, I don't care what you think you've created, unless you draw a picture of this for me, I'm not going to understand it. So what I'm offering folks is that if you buy the audio book, I will give you the ebook for free, so you can listen to me, read it to you, and follow along with your children in the house and learn and understand the pictures in the book, because a lot of it is pictures and images that teach you how to use these very watered down engineering tools that I'm giving you. You're not going to know they're engineering tools, but if your students or your children were to go on to study engineering in college, they would, after reading this book, they'd say, oh, I already seen this in that book before me. But they're not going to know it's engineering because I watered it down and disguised it. So, because remember, we want this to be simple, simple, simple. We can't make this difficult where we scare people. We want it to be so simple. A third grader can read this and say, I understand this, Mommy, I understand what value is, and use it immediately.
So again, just so there's lots of in there.
Success, and then the number 4, mula.com. There are 5 free audio chapters on the website that you can listen to. I'm putting a chat. If you listen to these audio chapters and you don't think that your children absolutely need this, I will retire. I am guaranteeing you that everybody who listens to the audiobook becomes my good friend. And I know I'm talking a big game, but and I've been in the public schools, and I hope they get with it, because all of the teachers that do testimonials say that we can revolutionize the Department of Education. We can stop the dropout crisis. We can stop all that. Why would you be in a gang if you can make a disruptor and live the whole rest of your life? Why would you be in a gang and risk getting shot? Well, there's too much in it for you. There's too much in it for you to ignore this, I think, right now. We can catapult our community to the top of the technology sector in 1 year with this book. One book, I'm saying. That's my value proposition to society.
Well, we got to conclude.
I really appreciate you bringing me on the show. Thank you so much.
Love you.
Love you too.
I would love.
Guy love.
Yes. I would love to have you back on the show.
I would love to do that.
So a lot more things we need to discuss.
Yes.
But for our audience, I will see you next week from the locker room. Peace. Just continue to talk to me. Act like we're talking. So this week, we went a little over. I was trying to get it, but it's fun. We did great. We didn't cover. There was a few things we didn't cover.
We good?
We good?
Yeah.
Yep, perfect. A few things we didn't cover, but
Right in front. This was covered right behind me.
What?
Oh, I thought she was nice. I thought she was stacked like dirty. How did that look?
Fellas.
Hey, sir.
What's going on?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good.